We don't need to convince everybody on Earth. We just have to convince less than 7,000 people to operate everything on Earth. You don't need millions of people agreeing with you. The few people that do these things will help direct society. You know, when I say direct society, I mean not to their own values, but to what is necessary to live in peace.
What are we going to do about religion, though?
Oh, we support all religions, so they don't have to go out and dig up nickels and dimes anymore. But on Sunday, you have all comparative religion, what different people believe all over the world. Then you have agnostics, what they believe, what atheists believe, what scientists believe, and you turn it on or off. But every point of view is on the air, okay? And we feel we're going to make soap operas, just like you got today, that look like soap operas. But in the soap opera, the little girl says, Daddy, I'm going to university to become a cultural anthropologist. He says, what's that? And it shows what they do. And it shows what science is. Science is not just another thing. I'm a banker, this guy's a scientist, this man is a lawyer. All those professions that serve nothing, like investment banking, bankers, advertising, be phased out. Because they do nothing. They add nothing to society.
So what will people do with their time?
Your television set shows what is needed, what professions are needed. Bridging the difference in German in the South, we need you to go there. And a guy has to talk in a Southern accent. He goes in the South. We make different films for Atlanta, Georgia, different films for Tennessee, the backwoods. You know what I mean? You can't make a film and put it out there. But the film I want to make is general, to tour the world, to get enough people together to form a foundation. Then I tell them, you have to form organizations and you have to bring in criticism, find out what people find distasteful. And if they don't know enough about it, we'll have another film called Lifestyles of the Future, the professions of the future, you know. Like there's a camera that follows people in the movie studio. You don't have to stand there and take the picture. All the lighting moves to the optimal lighting for that position. It's all computerized. And so you just tell them what kind of film you want or what kind of house you want. And if you tell me that you're a sociologist, I will get you a library on the history of sociology, films on that subject, and what's new and how it relates to other fields. So we want your home to be very well equipped, like the Internet. See? So you can get anything you want. Who would have believed that the Internet puts you in touch with the world, with libraries and art and music and everything else? And in the future, it'll even be better. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be some little screen you look at. So we want to show that. Because if you just tell people that we'll use more technology and science in the future, they picture in their own heads whatever they conceive. I don't want that. I want to say this is the kind of furniture. Like you see a guy in the movie, he comes into a home and he sees a gadget that looks like a big mushroom. He says, what's that? And it says, sit on it. And the guy sits on it, and it adjusts to his body contours. Then he lifts one leg to see and it comes up to meet him. He assumes different positions, and it supports him. It's very thin. And he says, how the hell does that work? And he's looking underneath for mechanisms. You don't see any. It's all built in the memory of a thin disc. There's another scene where normal people are visiting the home of the future. And there's a family sitting around watching full-wall TV. And the little girl said, boy, we've got it all. We got sound around, full-vision TV. They fade out right on. It shows the next several years later. They have a globe and they dial Madagascar on the earth. They move a little button to Madagascar and the ceiling disappears and birds fly right through you. You're in Madagascar. You can smell the flowers. And we don't grind up flowers and project it into the room. We affect the olfactory system to a rose or jasmine or whatever it is. So you think you're smelling, you can feel the breezes. And so then you dial the Great Barrier Reef off Australia. You set the little ball there. and then bubbles come up all around the ceiling. The sharks swim right through you. You know what I mean? And this little girl that says, we've got it all. You know, we just try to prepare people for tremendous change. You have to help people adapt to change emotionally and intellectually. Because, like I said, if you took your grandmother to Miami Beach with the girls' butts hanging out, they've gone too far. You know, she may be a wonderful person, but she's grown up in a different time. So we want to orient people for change, that the world that you have now is only transitional. Our language is always growing. People are changing. Well, if somebody says, is that good or bad? Well, we don't deal with those terms. You know, machines, to me, are an extension of human attributes. You know, when a doctor says to the nurse, scalpel, sutures, we have a unit that understands language and gives them that right away. Do you understand what I mean? You don't need a nurse standing there. You don't need a nurse moving a fat guy in bed, turning him over, wiping his butt. The bed itself turns him over. And there's a thing that looks like this that can pick a fat guy up out of bed onto a stretcher without the nurses busting their butt trying to do that. You know what I mean? People don't know what technology can do. They just think in terms of what they know. You see what I mean? The future is a fantastic place. So the world I'm talking about is not like this world at all. It's so different. You say, well, what will people be like? They certainly will not be like us. They'll look like us, but the reactions will be different. Their facial expressions different. What they enjoy or don't enjoy, what they aspire toward, will be determined by the nature of conditions in the future. Like I said before, if you took your grandmother to Miami Beach and the girls are walking around bare-butted, she'd say, honey, they've gone too far. So I'm saying you can't ask people today to step into the future and like it. They wouldn't like it any more than your grandmother brought to this world with all these cars going around. She'd be so confused. And other people in the past would never believe there can be thousands of automobiles and the average person owning an automobile. That's not possible. Now, a computer 10 years ago would cost $10 million. What computers do today. So here you got it in your home, and you're in touch with the whole world with your computer. Who would have believed that you would have access to information all over the world? So people today should be able to make the change faster because they've seen more change. The rate of change is getting closer and closer, you know, faster and faster. So if we don't change fast enough, we're going to become a have-not nation. We may already have been headed that way. I thought in working on the design of a global society that what I had put on paper sounded good to me, but I said, how do you know it'll work? And talk to myself. That's what thinking is. So I said, well, I don't know it'll work, but I certainly am going to try to see if it'll work.
I'm Roxanne Meadows with the Venus Project, and you're listening to Living on Purpose, Radio Ear Network.
Still sitting in your home here, that we're in good company. Everybody has questions, and the main burning question is, how on earth did you get to be the way you are? Where did you come from, Jacques?
Came from New York City. I was born in Manhattan. Family moved to Brooklyn, and it was during the Great Depression that all of these ideas were born. I'll give you an idea about some of them. There were about 15 million people sleeping in every empty lot when I was a kid, about 10 years old. The Depression, they were laid off, but they bought new homes and cars, and the banks failed. They were good people. They couldn't pay them off. So they gave them a limited time. You got to be out by February the 1st, you know, if you don't make your payments. And I said, well, we'll get a job and we'll make our payments as soon as things pick up. I said, you got so much time. 15 million people is a lot of people sleeping in every empty lot in their cars. That's why I tell you I'm 92 years old. I've seen that. See, a lot of you guys came in on the tail end of that, maybe.